Hey guys, today we are going to assemble the mechanical parts of the hex digit, that's the third thumb. We are going to start by threading a fishing line through the TPU finger. Now the finger is made out of TPU so that it's flexible and strong enough to hold the grip. So here I'm carefully threading the entire thing. This is a really tedious task and it might take a long time, so don't give up and make sure you keep doing it. Make sure you keep it all out of the correct holes, and here I'm using a wire cutter to gently pull it out so that I can have some grip while making sure that it stays perfectly in line. Then I'm going to use the holder that goes on the bottom of the finger. I'm going to make sure there are no rough edges in that because the fishing line can be easily cut if there are any sharp edges. So I'm going to smoothen it out and I'm going to take out the fishing line, and then I'm going to tie a knot at the very top so that the fishing line does not come out. So I'm tying a knot which I know that's going to be a basic knot, but you can tie any knot you want, and I'm tightening it just to make sure the entire thing stays perfectly still and it does not get out while I'm using it. Now I'll be applying some super glue just to make sure that everything stays in place and nothing comes out. I'll cut the excess and we'll let it dry for a while. Okay, so now that it has dried up perfectly, we'll check by pulling it, and since it's working perfectly, we'll go on to the next part, that is using the PTFE tube. I'll thread the fishing line through the PTFE tube until it comes out to the other end, and I'm gonna stick the entire thing to the finger just to make sure that everything stays in place and does not move while we are moving the finger. Next, we'll use some Velcro and we'll put it on the servo mount so that we can wrap it around our wrist. And once that's done, we'll put the servo motor in, and then we'll use this PTFE tube clip and we'll make sure that it stays before the motor so that it can guide the PTFE tube onto the wheel that's going to come next. Okay, so now that everything is in place, we see that the PTFE tube cannot enter that clip. So we heat it a little using a heat gun. You can use a lighter if you want, but since I have a heat gun, I'm using that. And I'm going to guide the PTFE tube inside the clip just to make sure it's snug fit and it does not come out. Now we check again if the finger is working by pulling on the string, and sure enough it's working. And also the PTFE tube is going in. So now we put the servo wheel next, which again is not very perfectly fit, so we'll use the heat gun again. We're going to heat it up a little and we're going to make sure that it's tightly fit and does not come out while we are moving it. So I'm just going to use the heat gun, heat it up a little and make sure it's working perfectly. Okay, now for stabilizing the finger mount, I'll use rubber bands and the clips for the fingers, and I'll use these rubber bands, make sure they are in equal lengths, and then I'm going to tie them to the main mount just to make sure that it's pretty stabilized. So as you can see, I'm threading the rubber bands, and I'm going to do the same thing with the main mount to make sure that it's perfectly stable and it does not come out while the thumb is working. So I'm just gonna tie a knot, and as you can see, it's pretty well fitted. and I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Perfect. Now this is working perfectly. I'm going to do the same thing with the other mount. That's it for this video. See you in the next one.